Hi folks, Mark here from the Digital Nexus podcast. I'm here with my co-host Chris.
Episode 27, here we go. We've got a lot of things to talk about. Google has taken over the media right now. They've got a lot of really interesting things dominating the AI space. We'll talk a bit about that.
We'll talk a bit about all the other things that are going on in the news, the latest in the OzDeFi website update. There is a whole new interactive learning and AI-enabled kind of experience there for folks. There's a whole heap of like Aussie events going on coming up in early May that we'll be attending, and just a whole lot more in the news.
Big competitions, big topics, and we'll even talk about some existential CEO crisis that's going to be happening with the integration of AI.
Live demo on that one as well, and you'll find out why Chris and I look like dinosaurs here in this picture. So all that and more in the episode.
Let's go.
Cats and dogs. They're eating
That is us.
eating dinosaurs. Anyway,
Dinosaurs.
should watch Kill Tony on Netflix. There's a dude that Shane Gillis, he does the best Trump impression.
Oh, does he?
And he's got as an American, he's got one of the best Aussie impressions.
Yeah, I know someone else who does a really good one as well.
Is it Trump? Oh, not Alec. Alex Baldwin.
No, not Alec Baldwin. It's another guy. I can't remember his name is, but yeah, some great skits that come out of that recently.
And there's a lot of content they get to work with, right?
There was an episode where Trump had the guy playing Trump. He was a kid, teenage years at high school, and he just wanted to play basketball, and he wasn't good until someone gave him these magic.
Oh, I've seen it. Because Trump had shoes.
Now he's got the golden shoes, and
he
like,
misses.
He misses, but he convinces everyone
That he's good.
He's like, so what? The shoes make you good? He's like, no, but it makes everyone think that. So
it gives me the confidence to say that I'm good.
Yeah, it just convinces absolutely everyone. I put him in.
This is for Easter. It's not Easter yet, but it's coming up.
It's coming up.
So anyway, it's next week.
What do these eggs cost? Like $50 an egg?
Yeah, probably. It's from Hague's. It's from the missus. So
Oh,
thank you, Ilana.
Thank you, Mark Nesses.
Well,
Oh, it's a white chocolate.
let's dive into it. Yeah, exactly. Like I don't see color with chocolate.
Right, the real flavor.
Anyway, you might notice, folks, here that we've got a bit of a dinosaur thing going on in the background. Just because, why not?
I'll put it on the foreground.
Yeah. There's a really good other, I forget the name of the podcast. They talk about AI. Really good guys. But they did something where one of them had himself riding on top of a robo dinosaur of John Carmack, who's like one of his favorite. It's his hall pass. You know, if a man can have a hall pass for another man, then that was it. So I was just like inspired because I was watching that. I'll throw the link in the show notes. But anyway, that if you're wondering what the F is going on with this, that's it. Yeah. Just literally
Where each other's hall passes?
Well, pretty much. You know, we had to run off into the jungle.
Dressed as dinosaurs.
Robot dinosaurs, not dressed as. We are literally in.
Kind of like, they kind of look like Master Chief uniforms.
Yeah.
Like dinosaur Master Chiefs. Rather than create superhumans, they made super dinosaurs.
I've been watching, even though it's an old series, and it wasn't like that well received, I don't think, but the Master Chief or the Halo series. And what was interesting, there's an AI in it.
Yes.
He's got an AI embodied in his head. He can't like turn it off, and it's called Cortana.
That's the whole premise.
Is that a Microsoft thing? I don't know. I guess Xbox is more Microsoft, and Cortana is.
Well, Halo is owned by by Microsoft, and they actually based Cortana off of the Cortana.
Yes,
that's why they called it Cortana.
No,
because
freaking way.
Yeah.
Bungie, Aussie company that came up with that. And what a great innovation. And speaking of innovation,
well, Microsoft invested in Bungie when they first did it.
Oh, because massively. Like Halo is such a good game, but just to showcase like Aussie innovation, there's a lot of great stuff going on. I'll talk about it a bit later, but you know, we're doing some stuff in that space to really showcase more of the innovation. But yeah, Chris, what have you been up to this week? I'll give you my rundown and stuff, but what's going on?
Yeah, this week's been quite busy trying to think of as our business and Digital Village, we're really trying to strategize on how we bring more activity into that AI space, giving away tools and services. Now that things are so easy to build, it just doesn't make sense that, you know, we charge for a lot of these consultancy things. So we're building tools as part of the, you know, these benefits to our customers and clients. It's been fun.
Fantastic.
So those that have come. I said I wasn't going to say anything, but you know, it has been a big part of my week. We're planning a masterclass series in the UX and AI space.
MasterChef.
MasterChef, yeah. They're going to be telling you how to cook up a good UX.
Are you going to be like Gordon Ramsay? You're just going to be shouting at them as they're doing it. What am I? a shit sandwich.
holding up 2 laptops behind people's heads. What are you? I'm an AI sandwich.
Okay, cool. Masterclass.
Yeah, so that is going to be fun. I mean, it'll take a while to build out all the content and stuff, but the big thing there
If only you could use AI.
people within the UX space, a lot of them aren't well versed in AI, or they want to up their skills in their processes. So the aim is to both provide the benefits of the skills, but also how do you utilize AI to expedite and then give more benefit to customers and clients. So
speaking of, like, and I'll show it in my news and stuff, but you should come along to, why don't we just jump across that? So speaking of the UX thing that you just mentioned there, I think this is an event that you should come along through. This is on May 8th. There's unfortunately 2 great events going on the May the 8th and stuff, but I've already agreed to
competition.
film. I know, and we'll talk about both, but I've already agreed to film this one for Alex Zinoviev that runs Gen AI Labs, and he's a product designer. They do a lot of these series. It was at the Domain, not the Domain, at Domain, the actual, like, real estate kind of website and stuff. And held there. I went to my first one after seeing it and FOMOing each time, but such a great event. I helped, they had a panel, then they had breakout groups. I led one of the breakout groups. We had some great discussions there. Shout outs to the folks that were in that. Now he's doing another one. I'm going to film it and stuff, but you should come along and maybe you can help me film. But just showing it up here, folks. I'll put the link in the show note. This is on May the 8th, Applied Gen AI, Stories from Product and Design Leaders. Isn't that something that maybe Chris has a lot more knowledge on than I? I just happen to talk about AI. So you can see here, it's over at Torrens in Surrey Hills, Torrens University. So
beautiful.
Yeah, Michelle Gilmore, Hey Juno. So she'll be.
I love that. One of my favorite research products.
And I was told her that when I saw her. So Chris is
she knows
a fan.
I've done a few shout outs of the tool and everything.
Fantastic. Canda's head of
great
design.
team as well. Like
Canada will be there. Leonardo AI, which is now owned by Canada. So AI Research and FOMO. This is going to be some great stuff that will be going on there. So there's that. But
what's the date?
May the 8th.
May the 8th for listeners, yep.
Not May the 4th, unfortunately. Another one that you should check out is the Women Plus AI event. So definitely save the date for this. Is from Fire Up Skills. Shout out to Hannah Maud, who's been going around the globe, back and forth between Europe and Australia, teaching and running sessions. She's from the FMCG space. Does a lot of stuff for the future of work and what people that are looking to change careers, like later in their careers are doing and stuff. And she's done very much that. She's dived deep into the AI space. So both of those events, you are sport for choice, folks, on May the 4th.
Nice.
Or May the 8th, sorry. May the 4th be with you as well. I don't know what we're going to do for that one, but we'll figure out something. So those are 2 events there that I thought I'd just highlight whilst we're just getting into the news. And another big thing, I guess for me, Chris, I'll just take over, is
no, please.
OzDeFi. So we had the former website, and then like with AI tools, it's just like, oh man, like I'll put all these things there, and then after a while, you start to.
I love this. I show it off as a pinnacle of things that you can play around with tools like Bolt and etc.
Oh, good.
That's how we do it. Everyone's like, you can't do much. I'm like, check out this.
And probably why we should enter that Bolt competition for $1 million.
Well, I was going to bring that up next. Yeah,
we should. So here's this thing where, over time, I've learned a bit more about like what I want in the website. At first, I just threw everything into it and put things behind the login, in front of the login. And it's just like, after a time, you actually get a lot of feedback. And it's only been 3 months, right?
Yeah.
We get feedback from folks and stuff, and then we've seen what we want to do, and we've built different things, and just culminating all of that experience into what you get now, which is a nice, cleaner kind of thing that you see on screen. Another thing, Chris, that we've got is advocacy and tools. And you mentioned tools from Digital Village. What we've got here is something that Not Centralized, like the firm that I do this work through, is adding to a lot of the community engagement and movements that we're trying to build. And we call it Groundswell. So on OzDeFi, Project Groundswell is, you can read the about here so you can see more of the details, but it's adding tools like explainers. Like, this is Textionary. Textionary is something, if you hear something in a podcast, if you are at an event and something didn't make sense, or you just want to copy and paste an article.
I love your ability to create some really interesting names for things. Textionary, well, that's fucking great.
This is from me and the partner that we created this. She came up with a name, which is great. This is an Eli 5 explanation. Explain it like I'm 5 for zero knowledge proofs. So Eli 5, zero knowledge proofs. Now, if you want to go up a level, you can go, let's go to intermediate. Now you've got a higher level of that explanation, and it's nothing more than you just copy and paste. If you like that explanation, you can copy it out. So that's one. The next one is Pathfinder. Pathfinder is a really interesting tool. Let's say that you're in marketing and you tell us about yourself and your role, your background experience and all that. It's just marketing. I'm pretty boring. I'm not technical, no programming experience. I'm not sure where to start, right? My goal is to understand the tech. This is all for blockchain. Guess what? In a few seconds, it's going to build you 10 learning blocks that are catered just for that. So here, and see, blockchain use cases in marketing, it takes that into account. When you click on that, you will now get something for that area. So those core concepts. So learning is really interesting with this. Another thing, and you can see some of the other tools explain crypto, that's a fun one. But more importantly, for the for meetups and podcasts, don't you love it when you can actually have in one spot an ability to watch? And this is a new series on, it's called Blockchain for Good. And it's blockchain with the AI capitalized because it's AI as well. This is with the folks at Fableration, which are doing blockchain, definitely for good, but they're doing this series, they're sponsoring it, so you can see it here. So look at this. You can watch this series. I've done it through Google Meets and stuff. We'll do some in person as well. But I can click, and while David Birch, really awesome guy in the payment space, there was Victoria, and then there was Lisa. I can get an FAQ going, or I can ask a question when the FAQ is finished, and I can interact and stay on screen at the same time. And then finally, we didn't have this before, and just a quick showcase is I put RAG in here so that you can actually talk to documents that are relating to the blockchain space. So the government put out like a minister will talk about something, Commonwealth Treasury will talk about something. So I'm just adding that in here, and I can go tell me what these docs are about. And you can, in the one hub, the one spot, you can use AI to actually understand what is going on in the space. So here you see it on screen, all that available for members, and yeah, well worth checking out. So the amazing things that you can do, this is with Bolt, folks, but it's not just Bolt. It's not just vibe coding alone. You need to understand what it is that needs to be built, how it needs to be built. You need to be able to know how to check it. So it's not just blindly going and doing, and I did a bit of a rant on this. Vibe coding should not be slandered as much as it is. There's a difference between vibe coding without knowing and vibe coding plus a mix of actual coding, because you get vibe coding to do the boilerplate, what they call the starter, and then you tweak it yourself. And knowing what to tweak and how to add security and how to add databases and how to add, proper usage of this kind of stuff. All of that combined together will actually make you able to produce stuff very fast.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I think there's nothing wrong with vibe coding. I think it's just around matter of what you're doing and why and how, the risks associated with it. And yeah, everyone should be tinkering with vibe coding and getting it out there. I mean, if you're someone who's very skilled, you're probably not going to go all the way in, but it's going to fast track a lot of the stuff that you're doing. And like just thinking about things that, man, with Gemini 2.5 Pro coming out, apparently people are just shouting praises over the quality of the code.
Yeah, it just came out overnight. Well, I mean, over the last couple of weeks, but Google did something last night, didn't they?
Well, so they just over the last 24 hours, they had their press conference with a lot of announcements, a lot of exciting announcements, which we will touch on in a moment. We'll get to that. I thought we'd just talk about a few things first as we lead our way up into some of them. We'll take a few more points to talk about. You did mention, just as a a passing comment around Bolt doing a bit of a competition. So the world's largest hackathon is coming, and there's a prize pool, I think it is, of $1 million to bring it to life if you've got a great idea. So
I'm entering.
Enter in that, have a bit of fun, and there's currently I think over 100,000 people building together, and yeah, you could get just part of that prize, or just start building something pretty cool. If it's a great idea, that is amazing. This is vibe coding. This is vibe coding in action and in practice. So yeah, to jump on that, it's quite interesting. Some other news, we'll jump into sort of the fast news and we get into some things that are bigger. Musk is hiring some AI workers to fix up some pretty funny content issues. I don't know if you try and do things in OpenAI. I think even DeepSeek and other of the open source tools, moving away from OpenAI's, they're usually popping up, they're blocking certain content types. So if you start doing something pretty rude, you want to generate content, inappropriate content,
all the fun stuff.
Says all the fun stuff. It kind of tells you, no, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
Grok, on the other hand, has been finding people have been getting around those firewalls pretty damn quickly and easily. So Elon Musk has gone on a bit of a hiring spree just to find solutions for this and get people to fix it. So there's
I thought he wanted freedom. I thought he wanted
yeah, it's interesting. I think it's, there might have been, I'm guessing there's a few content pieces that have been sort of targeting him maybe appropriately, and maybe he wants
it's free until
I'm part of it. Yeah, look, that was hearsay. I have no proof for it else to say that as the passing joke. But yes, that's an interesting thing that's happening in the space after they've been merging their company, so obviously they're building things back up again after letting everyone go. For our WordPress developer people out there, they have just launched an AI-powered website builder into their platform.
Ooh, Fermento.
This is pretty interesting.
Is it called Fermento?
Yeah, probably. Oh, for real. So pretty much prompt website generation on the WordPress side of things, which is pretty.
Finally.
Yeah, you would think this is something they could have jumped on a bit early, but I think they've been going through.
See, this is the thing, like
bad loops with the recent press, obviously with the joke in mind.
Oh yeah. I remember the whole. Oh my god, like the foundation and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly right.
You can look into that, like look up WordPress drama. But interestingly, like WordPress is definitely like the pinnacle of upper echelon of A-grade quality kind of websites that you build. And when you can't build with that, like, and we initially did it with Wix, or you use Squarespace, and then there's others like I forget the other name. There's Flow. It's like that's another kind of tool that you can build. Webflow.
Oh, Webflow, yeah. There's heaps of tools out there.
Webflow's really great.
Webflow's great. Probably like more of an advanced user.
There's an Aussie company that built an AI-enabled Webflow experience, so you could just vibe code your way to a website, and they did that last year, right? So good on them. I forget the name, but I spoke to them about just before they did that, and it was just normal Webflow stuff. But anyway, my point is that all the stuff that I'm doing and what the others are doing, I think WordPress is still the best way. So if they're adding AI into it,
I would say it's best because it's very easy for content editing.
Yeah,
that's what they get right. I think during the side they're falling a bit behind in that space, but in terms of being able to manage your site, it's definitely one of the easiest ones.
Can I just say on that, because it scratches an itch. When I did the ETF tracker thing, folks, like I built a CMS into it,
like from scratch. Why?
A mini because I've
because you can
I needed to.
That's the best answer.
With Bolt, I needed to build a tool that could display the information, and ETF Tracker 2.0 was coming out soon. But I wanted to display the information, but I didn't want to have to go to a separate website, which is what I did before. I have Wix, and then embedded is the app. No, I just wanted it all in there. What could Bolt do it, right? And I created a way that I could connect into Firebase, push into a bucket, basically words that I would type on the screen, and I would be admin, so I could publish it, or I could have it in draft. If you were the viewer, you wouldn't see anything that wasn't published, and it worked okay. Like I definitely improve it again, but my point is that it's great that CMS thing is there, but don't think that that's the only hurdle. Sure, there are all these other things. I think what people really need to think about is specifically the nuance of what they're trying to do, and then figure out, is it best to use a third-party tool? And is it the best tool on market that you use? Or is it easy just to build your own? Because for now, except for connecting to email, I've got a system where it has my AI, my CRM, my Google Notes, so I don't use a bunch of Google Notes, except for like podcast stuff and other stuff that we're sharing.
Yeah.
But it's for personal stuff, and also a Jira type workboard. And I built that all into one tool, my own kind of cockpit CRM thing.
Love it.
Bolt again, guys.
It's fantastic. I can't recommend it enough to people. I mean, there are other tools out there. There's Lovable and all these other tools, which I will talk to in a moment. Let's continue with Varna. Have you heard of Varna?
I have.
Very interesting.
I just heard about it.
I think we've talked about it previously. There's a group of kids out of MIT, young people, and they're creating pretty much a decentralized network, or a decentralized AI tool. What was interesting about this, which I love, if we compare it to a lot of the other open source tools that are out there with the DeepSeeks, the Metas, the Groks of the world, they're obviously all trained on data that is not necessarily it's not owned by them. They're using the World Wide Web to train and build up their networks.
Did you say World Wide Web?
The World Wide Web.
I think you mean information superhighway, Chris.
Oh, my apologies. Yes. But so what Varna is doing is they're actually having people who, they're vibing, for lack of a better word, at the moment.
Nice.
What we're talking about, vibing with the experience, that they're all feeding it the data and training it. So they've got 1 million people who are on board with the project, who are contributing to the training of this particular data. Like,
What could go wrong?
they struck a $16 million deal with Google to their search giant, to use the data on their platform as well. So they're actually training it with data that people are honestly utilizing. So it's not like
Except for Reddit users. I mean, or they're not part of the discussions, it seems.
Potentially, yeah. There's like this. So it's an interesting thing because it's a little bit more honest. It's decentralized, so people have control of the data that's pushing out there. And yeah, I hope they.
Can I just show something quickly?
Get on there early, boy. Get on there early. Check it out.
Get on there early, folks. Varna, checking out something that just triggered a thought is that there's a group called Verida out of South Australia. They were doing stuff in the blockchain space and still are. But enabling and bringing their skills to the AI space, because they've got this, which is decentralized infrastructure for your own private AI and stuff. They've got a great chat group that is working on this kind of stuff in their Telegram. So shout outs to those guys there. But yeah, they are Aussie and building this kind of stuff. So there's more of this yearning and push towards, hey, we want AI that's just built on my own data, but how do you actually secure it? Because decentralization, numbers of nodes is a good way to secure kind of data sets. So really interesting stuff, I think. Let's go back to you.
I hope that trend continues to grow.
What do you got?
Let's jump into some exciting, cool, I don't know. I think that's just, look, Google is absolutely killing it in the AI space right now.
Yeah.
We had Gemini 2.5 Pro, which released a few weeks ago. It's top of the charts in terms of, the AI that everyone loves. It's becoming a favorite from a coding perspective. It's now integrated with a lot of our, if you're on the Google Suite using slides and documents, it's now fully integrated into that. Image generation, all those tools, fantastic.
Wow.
So they had a press conference yesterday in line with some other announcements that happened over the last week and a bit. Starting with Google, they just partnered with NVIDIA for one of their Alphabet quantum AI startups. So $450 million funded into this funding round. We heard them, they announced their chips, or was it a few months back?
Yeah.
So this is building on that, and super excited for this. I mean, this is where AI is going to go from, doing the little bits and pieces here, not quite reaching that true form of AGI into that unlimited power, which is a scary thing at the same time, but also pretty awesome.
Unlimited power.
Unlimited power. So using quantum computing, quantum techniques to really enhance how AI, enters into the world. So just touching on that, it's a pretty interesting thing to keep an eye on. But more excitingly was the announcements that I just highlighted before that Google. I'm just going to pull up some notes here, just around everything that they're saying as Trey put on this video.
Oh, this video.
There's a video. So you can see here, this is the presentation that our friends, the CEO Thomas Kurian and his colleagues were announcing all of the new things that are coming to Google Cloud and AI as we speak. All of them are out at the moment, but it's pretty exciting, some of the things that they announced.
Using Gemini, a 20 times increase in Vertex AI usage last year, driven by the strong adoption of Gemini Flash, Gemini 2.0, Imagine 3.0, and most recently, VO.
And how it can enable us to rethink what's possible. I think that's a fitting theme for Cloud Next. Today, I'm proud to announce our 7th generation TPU. It's the most powerful chip we have ever built and will enable the next frontier of AI models. Advanced reasoning that included the highest score ever on humanity's last exam, one of the hardest industry benchmarks that's designed to capture the human frontier of knowledge and reasoning. VO2 is the leading video generation model. Major film studios, entertainment companies, as well as the top advertising agencies in the world are using it to bring their stories to life.
So let's go ahead and use VO's new in-painting capability. And I'm sorry, sir, I apologize. I know you're very good at your job, but I am going to have to remove you from this image. We will send flowers to you and your family, though, sir. Let's use the new in-painting capability. It should preserve every single aspect of what we saw before, just without our stagehand. Look at that.
Now you can build sophisticated Gemini-powered agents, help them use tools, do complex multi-step tasks, including reasoning or thinking. Google Agent Space combines Google quality enterprise search, conversational AI or chat, and Gemini and third-party agents.
So some of the cool the highlights, the things that I thought were really awesome that they announced. The first was agent-to-agent protocol. So they also announced that they're releasing a whole bunch of APIs for their own agent development. But obviously when it comes to building agents within certain ecosystems, there's the concern of, oh, but I've built a whole bunch of agents and I love what this tool does and I love what that tool does. And N8N is a good example of someone who's tried to integrate lots of different tools and processes, but what it doesn't do well is integrate agents from other platforms. And Google has announced that they're releasing a protocol that allows different agents to talk to each other.
It's like a model context protocol.
Exactly. It's exactly what it is. So he put a post out, probably what it was about, I think it was last week, going, hey, should we be, opening up MCP into the Google ecosystem?
Yeah.
And everyone was like, hell yes. And they've done it. So MCP and agent-to-agent is now accessible. Well, it's coming. I don't know if it's out yet. It was only announced yesterday, but it will be accessible over Google. So it's pretty exciting for our agent builders out there.
Two things on that with the whole kind of like this agent-to-agent kind of like framework for allowing different agents to be able to speak the same language, which is the same thing as, the brand is like as MCP, the model context protocol, which allows you to connect to all different systems and is really like, it's offering some really interesting stuff. I've seen mostly positive kind of stuff on there, but then there's alternate takes that are out there as well. Because if you think about like things like JSON, HTML, TypeScript, and all these like coding protocols and stuff, they all started as these brand new ideas, and we'll see what takes off, right? And so far, MCP is it's interesting. It's still early though. I just want to highlight there that for one thing, there is that like we need to think about like which one will actually be the one that wins, in terms of adoption. And then secondly is that, I mean, we were looking at this kind of stuff, not MCP type stuff, but this problem that we were trying to solve, it's just a very initial, it's nothing to do with multimodality. It's only for text stuff, but the inconsistency of responses. And we found, and we built, well, Arturo built, my colleague at North Central, shout outs, a way to have let's call it a framework to have that consistency where it's YAML based, and really interesting stuff there, because when you just have JSON, there's no instructions. But with YAML, you can have both JSON structure as well as like instructions. And that was a real kind of breakthrough. And we built that. So, and then I've seen OpenAI, one of the people that left there, he went off to try to build a company that's focused on this kind of stuff. Like, maybe, I don't know, it's MCP came out from Anthropic and everyone else is using it now, but it's just interesting to see that we're at that age where people want to have that standards and consistency to enable adoption.
And if my, MCP started from Anthropic, so if my understanding from the articles is correct, so Google has done the same thing utilizing for what Anthropic has done with their whole MCP stuff, because obviously they built it.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. I think that's is going to be super powerful, particularly because Google is becoming such a powerhouse in this whole space from a development perspective. Some other big ones, Imagen 3. Obviously, this is competing with what OpenAI has been releasing. So the Imagen 3 is just a new image generation, reducing any errors that are popping up in their screens, in the images that show up. I don't think it's quite there with what OpenAI has been able to do with their recent release into 4.0. But it's still hugely beneficial, especially because of its integrations with slides and documents and all those other things that people would be utilizing in their day-to-day work. So no more having to jump around trying to find images in your own thing. You can use OpenAI, or you can now use the embedded tools inside of Google systems.
Hey Google, find that dinosaur pic of Chris. Thank you.
Yes. Another really cool one is Vo2. So Google has been talking VO2, VEO2 to say the acronym correctly. They've had a huge update that allows you to do a lot more 3D image generation.
So
3D video generation. One of the more interesting thing is also first and last shot control. So imagine you can have a still for, say, a front-on picture. You can see the demo here. Then you have a still of the rear end, and it will just connect the two up in this nice little video visual.
I've seen some. I think Runway was doing that.
They were doing it. It's just more the fact that Google has now brought it in with the power of their whole 2.5 Pro.
With the power of copying.
Well, yeah, I mean, everything's going to be copied now. It's just the little tweaks that make things better.
Just on that note, like, ideas are free, folks. I just want to say that ideas are absolutely free. It is up to you as to how you execute and stuff. So yeah, anyway, diving further into that, what else have you got?
Yeah, a couple of final things. If you haven't seen it out there, Firebase they've got 2.5 Pro now integrated with this. So there's been a lot of people testing this online and really just spouting the praises. This is competing with obviously the Lovables and the Bolt.news and the the VOs and all those other tools that are out there that you're able to do text to code development. And Firebase is now becoming one of the leaders in that space. So definitely check it out. I know you've been using Firebase previously in another life before moving to Bolt, but the competition is fierce.
It's using Firebase with Bolt. It's not one or the other.
Oh, okay. You've been combining the two. Apologies. Yeah.
So let's. The concept is called CRUD, folks. CRUD is a CRUD app, and all apps are really CRUD apps. But it's like a really. I think it's more synonymous with a bare bones app, but like even sophisticated apps are CRUD, as in you connect to a database to create, to read, to update, or delete data. Firebase acts as one of those kinds of databases, and it's very cost effective, and it comes from Google, and it's very useful for some things. But when it comes to, and because they do it with NoSQL, as in that is the type of thing, it's called NoSQL. It's not very much like JSON files in terms of how it records data. And I think maybe they've got other more SQL-like stuff. But anyway, when we were doing initially OzDeFi stuff, it was limited in terms of what we could do because it was NoSQL. If I wanted to do ETF tracker, not OzDeFi. But I've moved to Superbase because Bolt has more native integration with it, but they will bring Firebase in there. But we were using Bolt connected to a database, which is Firebase. And but we're going to move on from that.
So to elaborate, so Firebase Studio is the key thing here. I'm not logged into it at the moment. So essentially they've launched Firebase Studio, which is a cloud-based AI-powered integrated development environment that lets you build fully fledged apps using prompts. So that's
fully fledged apps.
So this is what I'm saying. They're competing with the cursors, the bolts, and other tools. I was hoping they'd have a thing on their homepage of the website, but they haven't printed it at all, which is why I have it
on the website.
Yeah. So this is, you can see it here. This is the Firebase Studio. It just looks exactly like all of the other tools with text to image generation or text to code generation, and you're able to build your applications inside of this. And this is what we've been seeing thrown all around social media, etc. People competing with it too, and really loving it. They have some people, it's early stage. Some people have noticed some issues, or they're not getting quite to the quality, the high level quality that they want at the end of it. But I think the simplicity of it is what people have been praising, and just like that, the first and second step of accuracy. And we've seen even in Google's other studio tool, you were able to create some pretty elaborate, even 3D games and other environments using 2.5. So it won't be much of a stretch for this tool to catch up with the competition with with all the new updates coming in Gemini.
Love it.
And yeah, that's it for news. The main part of news. Do we want to sideline into a bit of an interesting topic of conversation? Oh, mate, hit me up. Hit me up. I'm so excited. So I raced ahead there.
I am the forgotten wife. Chris has many wives. Anyway, just cutting.
Don't tell them. Just publish.
So Atlassian, the great Aussie unicorn out there, they're also adding AI into their tools. And it's great. Just like, before, because a lot of these tools, maybe they had AI in there, but I had to go to jump into multiple kind of different tools. And so that's why I built my own CRM. Like I love Jira, but I needed to do all this other stuff. And my tool doesn't have all the features that, Jira has. But the point is that if you only need certain things, some pathways mean you could just hyper-personalize and build to your own. I am seeing like more people that are in this space that are builders and, very influential builders, like even Reuven Cohen, for example, pointed out that one of the things that he focuses on in terms of his work is actually building those hyper-personalized apps. So it's interesting, you know, I saw it as like something that is probably happening. Nice to see the validation. Anyway, if you don't want that and you just want AI in these tools, whether it's Google, Atlassian is now doing something with Rovo, and Rovo is free in all their apps. Now, they might charge for it later on, or maybe it's just a way to keep. Interesting, this website, Diginomica, they have a dyslexia mode, so I can turn this on, and now you've got a way, if you are dyslexic, and I kind of am sometimes,
Oh, wow, I'd love that.
that you can read it better. I've seen a better version of this where it actually makes so what it's doing, if for folks that are listening in, it's making the letters a bit bigger. The first letters, or the first the capital letters and stuff, they're a bit bolder. I've seen one where it does it for a few of the syllables, like the THs and the starts of letters. It makes it a bit bolder, and it does make it easier to read, especially if, I don't know, you're ADDing and stuff like that. And just hyper focusing on like weird and wonderful different things, it helps. But they've got that. Another one that was interesting news: South Australian, I will say that right. South Australian.
Yeah, that's a thing.
South Australian
Actually,
drivers.
Stop that one, just because I'm noticing the thing is getting so bright.
Oh my God. How?
I think it's just mainly me, because I'm so white.
Yeah, you were getting whiter.
I don't even know if I can darken that. What could I do? It's so bright. It's crazy.
How?
I can reduce this.
I can be bright. I can be bright. I can
Alright.
be bright. I can be bright. I
Just do
can
it
be
up.
bright. I can be bright.
All right, so start again with the South Australian thing.
Okay. 1 second. I just want to see what this AI shit is.
What is it?
Kit. I don't know. Let's find out. Anyway, I'll jump back to South Australia.
Oh, I can be bright all the time.
Yeah, that's one. 3, 2, 1. And another bit of news is that South Australia, their drivers are going to be monitored with AI cameras.
Oh, I know they've been talking about this for a while. There's
Now-
like prompting kind of a bit of an outrage of people going, I don't want to be looked at by a AI while I'm doing
Here's the
things
thing.
illegally in my car.
I hate articles like this. There's a big difference between Gen AI and Vision AI, which is, you know, so one is generative AI, and it's probability based and stuff, and other ones are and stuff as well. But Vision AI is, you know, that's something else completely. There's machine learning, you know, that's also part of the AI.
Don't tell me this is just Vision AI.
I don't know. I don't know, but yeah, that we're finding out here, and it does not seem like it gives details apart from a high level. It's AI. So, you know, this is the thing. This is the type of stuff that even if you're in a corner of AI that has nothing to do with that, just like we see in the blockchain and crypto space, you will be tainted with the same kind of brush. So just something to look out for there. He shoots, he scores. As tensions grow as well, an Australian AI Safety Institute is a no-brainer. This is an article from The Strategist, really interesting one, calling for this need to create an AI safety center, you know, a group, so to speak. So hopefully if they do and are able to get something like that off the ground, I mean, there's already like the Tech Council of Australia, there's National AI Center, there's all these different like bodies and stuff and associations. We're trying to create something in that space as well. I just hope that there are ways that we can bring not just the associations, not just the policymakers, not just the public or the builders, but everyone that is involved gets to have a say. So let's see what happens there. Another bit of news is that there's tens of thousands of creatives signing petitions against unlicensed generative AI training. So again, more than 50,000 actually creators have signed a statement on AI training, which is interesting because you see this on the one side, and then you see, I think it's H&M or like one of those groups that's like making it so that, or they're pushing campaign that their models, like, yes, they're using digital kind of stuff, but they own their images. They own, and however their, you know, their model digital twin is used, they get a say in that, and they get to play a part of it. So that sounds like a really ethical thing. This one is, I think, just calling for, well, it's warning on the use. There's a good summary here that the legal battles are underway across the globe. Now, whether they call for a halt, I think it'll be really hard, right? Like one halts and then China and others will just like continue to create, maybe.
Yeah.
Or there's like a better way to work, you know, like some ethical stuff. And it's really interesting with the GPT image stuff that they just let it so that, I mean, I asked for a combination of Barbie and Oppenheimer just for fun. And it literally gave me both the characters, their real images, like Margot Robbie and what's the guy's name? the Oppenheimer dude. He was
Christopher Nolan?
no,
The actor.
yeah. He was in, you know, Shady. Oh, the Shady.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, Peaky Blinders, Shady Blinders. He was in
Shady
Shady Blinders, folks. Yeah, but both of those actors, it generated them. Is my point. It's like I thought it wouldn't do that kind of stuff, but it literally did.
Definitely does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy. Yes, exactly. So the Oppenheimer thing. Anyway, so interesting. We're seeing all these, like, you know, things coming together. Another one, AI needs a lot of energy. So Trump says coal is the answer. So,
Oh God.
you know, bringing back the jobs, bringing back the whole workers, bringing back all those interesting materials. I don't know if you saw the video, folks, where it's like a factory kind of setting where it's a whole lot of like American workers and stuff is what it's supposed to represent. And then someone's like replaced it with Trump and it's all AI. And it's just like, I mean,
actually, that's an interesting sideline to the next topic, which is
the people will, like, you know, will complain about like, oh, how people are going to do like factory works. And it's like, I saw a funny one. It was like someone commented like, have you heard of robots? Yes. There will be robots that will do this kind of stuff. There will be more factory.
Elon Musk is making them.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, you know, there will be some onshoring. As to how efficient that is, that's a whole nother question. We'll get some economists to answer. But did you want to jump to something? I've got a few more little bits of news.
One small thing is Meta released Llama 4, which is interesting. So Llama 4 Scout and Llama 4 Maverick.
Yep,
so it's the most powerful models to date, designed specifically to support, you know, multimodal experiences. So for all the, again, open source people out there, which is it's something new and more powerful compared to the other open source tools and code.
I love that they're
out there.
They're
Definitely
doing,
have to play around with it.
I love that they're doing a lot of this free release stuff, because Llama is like a model that literally is open source and you can build on top of it. I think the weights are available because something is not quite open source if they don't release the weights. You actually need that to fine tune. But also, I wonder if it's like Zuck and the crew just making up for all the wrongdoings of the Cambridge Analytica. Look it up, kids. You know, that scandal about farming your data with farming games, using farming games to farm your data, the irony, right?
I mean, who knows?
So they're making up for it.
I'm sure they have ulterior motives. I can't imagine there's a whole niceties around what's going on.
No, come on.
It's going to be integrated into WhatsApp, so apparently you can play with it across Messenger and Instagram directly as well.
Okay.
So people can continue to use the artificial intelligence to enhance their daily lives and the content they're creating, and sharing with other people as well. So that's an interesting one there.
Fantastic. Cutting back.
What's next?
Alphabet reaffirmed $75 billion spending despite all the tariff turmoil. So they want to boost their AI and data center capacity. So just leading off the Trump coal kind of stuff. So we'll see what happens there. Microsoft have their 50th anniversary Copilot event, not the 50th anniversary of Copilot, just their 50th anniversary. And so they announced a whole heap of stuff with Copilot. You might like it, you might not. Well worth checking out though, just to see what was going on there. OpenAI secures $300 billion valuation after a $40 billion SoftBank-led funding round. So
hot damn, SoftBank. I mean, this is one of the partners that they were originally going with Stargate, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah. So this is the start of the month. I don't think we highlighted, or maybe we did last week, but I just thought, given all the money being thrown around, we might as well like raise that on them. And yeah, that's pretty much it from the news for me. So what do you want to dive into?
Love it. One last piece, I guess, will branch us into a bigger discussion is and this is a trend that we're seeing more and more, and I've been having conversations with people, both agencies and consultancies alike, talking about the impact of AI in the business. And we've had discussions around its impact on product and processes and delivery and development. But what does it mean for organizations and leaders alike?
Yeah.
And Shopify CEO just said publicly that before he hires anyone else, he wants them to prove within the organization that AI can't do the job better than that particular person that they're hiring. So essentially making a move and saying, if I'll only hire people if AI can't do the job, is the underpinning thing.
Wow.
And it does beg the question of, like, even for himself, like, surely there are you know,
Yeah.
surely the AI can do his job.
There is. There's
I
a
mean,
group that like basically the CEO stepping down because they're putting an AI in her place.
exactly right.
And they're selling that.
HeyBossAI.
Yes.
This is a came out. I think it's even backed by OpenAI. This tool.
Yeah.
So I'll
The result was better and faster than I could ever deliver. I saw her leading a team. Let's welcome Astra.
Astra, yeah. So I'll play the video here. So this is HeyBossAI, and Astra is the AI tool counterpart. So you can actually jump in and play with it now. They've got a whole bunch of people who are signing up for it quite rapidly. They're saying a claim and offer of the first 10,000 people get to play with it. I wonder if I can use it. Give me a sec, because I did do this already.
Ooh, try it.
Let me see if I can log in.
Chris is logging in.
Logging the bones, the cats, the bones. Actually, I'll need a new browser for this.
It's the dogs and the cats and the AI bosses.
It's so funny.
Yeah, so I mean, are we recording this part?
No. We're just gonna.
I said, are we recording this part? This part. Hey, boss.
Why? Why did I do that?
I don't know. It's called Hey Boss. Oh my god. Oh.
All right. Okay. So yeah. So hey, boss. Give me something that you think it might want to do. So let's build a website.
I need to fire Chris.
Do you want to build a platform,
That
or an HR
fires
platform that fires my employees?
Yeah.
I want
Named Chris.
an HR platform that can assist
Fire
with firing
Chris.
firing my staff,
Named Chris.
and call it Chris.
No?
Start building. Let's see what happens.
Okay, let's see. I mean, this is very Bolt-like
Okay.
spirit.
Additionally, if you can provide the platform key features, logos, and any preferred colors, just go.
You make it up.
Keep it simple with blue and whites. Start building.
If anyone's seen that movie Up in the Air, it's like that. They had people flying around to do these like firings and stuff that companies wouldn't want to do, so they'd outsource it. And then they were moving to tele versions of it so that they didn't have to fly. So George Clooney, the character in that, was losing all his millions of frequent flyer points just continuously being on the road. But what have we got here?
So they say they can do it in 9 minutes, so we can see the timer there. So let's continue discussion and let's loop back to see.
They're discussing with themselves.
Yeah, so there's a full conversation going with Vega and Ethan and Max Data Nova.
Vega Quantumix.
But see, so it begs the question of like, what, as AI becomes more advanced and we think about the processes that people go with, even just to start new businesses, like a lot of this stuff is just processes, right? You think about your idea, you validate it, you go into a stage of trying to maybe raise capital, build your marketing plans, execute some of those marketing plans, get some early stage people on board to have the platform, start building it. These are all processes and stages that like theoretically can be optimized based on you know, what the business is and what it needs to do. So at what point will we reach where a human is no longer to deliver those processes?
And I'll tell you why.
Please, this is.
So first of all, with this, what you're seeing on screen here, this very much, it's like Klein, but in a better experience. It's like Manus is like Klein, it's like GenSpark, this other deep research kind of thing where it's not just back and forth, but you leave it, you set it a task and it goes off and it completes a task.
It's using like synthetic personas to essentially develop this stuff.
Exactly.
It's creating these AIs based around its own rules and experiences that it's picked up in the world to then build these sort of fake discussions and validating and itself in real time.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll get back to why, and it's a much better way of presenting it rather than the code thing that you've seen in previous episodes where we were using Klein or using Manus. Now, what I will say with all of this, and it's to do with generative AI, not overall AI, which is very well trusted and being tweaked and tuned and deterministic, as in we know, like a database, if we're supposed to get a certain result, if I say, find me all the Chris's in the database, a deterministic result, like you're using with SQL or Python, will count if it's coded correctly and give you all the Chris's in the result in the database. Gen AI doesn't do that. First of all, if you're using RAG, it's not going to do that. It's just going to find the top N chunks, like top 5 chunks. And maybe it needed to look at 7 or 8 chunks that actually count all the Chris's. So there's already hit and miss and stuff there. You're using the right kind of tool for it. But when it comes to generative AI, I think that the biggest issue is going to be that and in terms of just letting them loosen on their own, how do we know even if it's like 99.9% like accurate, and maybe that's more than humans, that's how we will like switch over. But
Yeah.
that 0.0001% where it's not could be very bad, for example. Now, a situation where you have these guys doing this, but then they're working as a co-worker, I think works well, right? And I'll say because the fact that they can work really fast, they don't get tired, they don't sleep and stuff like that if it's created that way. But them showing you the work that they've done either at a junior level because they're just doing simple stuff, or at a senior level, like, you know, the CEO probably wouldn't be doing and building the HR app, for example, or maybe it's acting as the persona of the CEO and telling the others what to do, or maybe it's a small business, whatever it is. I think that there are ways to have these apps that are the co-workers at each level, because the very fact that why do we say that AI is good or bad? It depends on us, the human, judging the output. You might see something and you see the website and you're like, wow, that's shit. That's really badly designed. I might see it and like, I'm not into design, but it's created the website. I'm like, oh, it's okay. Now, the AI has done the same thing on both sides, but it's up to the human to go whether or not it's fulfilled the task, and whether it's for security or just design and creativity or just like generating text. It is always up to the human as to whether or not it's the right kind of thing. Now, I think that's going to be the thing that will always include humans as part of it when it comes to like, if you batch multiple things of these together, they could create better outcomes, but there's always going to be that judgment. So I think we'll, for the foreseeable future, need humans. I know that we're going to get to like some sort of AGI moment, but I just think that we'll evolve what it is that we do as work by that stage. So it's just like, yeah, that still needs humans involved.
It's an interesting thing, like we talked about this before, and I saw a post on LinkedIn recently as well, where someone was talking about how, you know, that when computers launched into the market, everyone was so worried around how it was removing jobs of people. Like we automating these processes will, you know, get rid of an entire section of people who are manually building these tasks. Because then actually, in the flip side, what it ended up doing is creating a whole bunch of new jobs in the IT space, and people who specialized in digital and technology to help with the implementation and infrastructure that surrounded these IT requirements for organizations. You know, the businesses eventually, once we moved online, they were worried that, you know, e-commerce platforms were going to remove the jobs of salespeople.
Oh, that's it.
But then suddenly we had jobs for people building these platforms and integrating and managing these platforms. And that evolution will continue to come about, I think, even into with this, you know, probably the most revolutionary thing that has happened over the last, you know, 20 years or so, since the dawn of the internet, I would say. And new jobs and new capabilities within what we deliver will arise. What they are specifically yet, we don't know. Like, we've got consultative services now around AI, people who are specialized in development of AI, which jobs didn't exist before. We've got people who are now doing oversight and management of the AI tools.
Yeah, there's a new role that's like being created there, like this oversight kind of role, because with the way that, and you think about it with vibe coding, and we said it before, works best when you actually know what you're doing. The AI, anyone can create like a prototype with something like this, but if you don't know about security and what to look out for, you won't know how to protect. So you do need to have these people that do have that understanding, and they'll be able to do stuff quicker because we're using these tools to enable us to get to another place. And on the point, like I'm trying to find the video and I might not find it, but there was a video where people were interviewed about the computer way back in, like, it was like New York in like 1977, and what they thought about the information society.
Yes.
And really interesting stuff, because like one of the people said that, look, you know, things, if a job is meant to be automated, it will just be automated. You know, if it's really meant to be taken away, then it should be.
Yep.
That kind of thing. So we had that back then, and
this is happening right now.
It's happening again.
I think what it's also going to bring to light is the skill sets of people who were kind of just like not doing much and sweeping things under the table as doing now. The expectations around quality are going to significantly rise up, which means our ability to deliver higher value is going to increase, but the effort to deliver that higher value is also going to increase. As you know, we can't rely, particularly at the moment, maybe this will change with AGI, we can't rely on AI to get you 100% of the way. You're going to have to put in huge amounts of effort now. That 10% of time we used to spend on things is now going to become most of the time that we spend on optimizing and pushing things into market, which is a higher value on that delivery end of things. So that expectation of quality in the market is going to rise up, but we get to spend more time on delivering that quality than what we did before, because AI gets us 90% of the way. But for, I guess, so from a CEO perspective, I think what we're saying is there is, while their job role might not necessarily dissipate, what they're doing and how they're doing it is going to rapidly change with the, with the rise of maybe not specifically tools like this one. I think it's a bit of an overstatement on the Hey Boss. That being said, I haven't put proper CEO tags into it to see what it produces.
It'd be interesting to see if you do that.
Yes. Okay.
Next time. Yeah.
Can you run a presentation for me around the latest statistics in my business and how we're performing?
Just run this
board members. Yeah.
Just
run the pop-up. Well, we've got tools for that. Just drop that into Notebook.
Yeah. Exactly. And where is up to at the moment?
So we've got 20 seconds left on this one. And so they, just in the last couple of minutes, they've been talking around copy. They've been agreeing on logos.
Oh my God.
Excellent work around finalizing messaging. They're even making happy statements to each other around, you've done a great job. I'm really proud of you. I'm sure the mobile optimization is on point.
Yeah.
So which I find is quite hilarious. So here we go. The final security assessments are providing. Oh, they've added an extra minute. That's interesting. I'm setting up the final checks. Okay, so it's gone from 9 minutes now to 10 minutes.
Sorry, the
says
work
that
is going to cost a little. We've got a budget over so the minutes.
Here we go. It does say, hey, sorry, lots of people are using it. It might take over 9 minutes. I'll ping and email you when it's done. So maybe we'll loop back in 40 seconds.
We'll
just pause.
We'll just speed this up.
Yeah, let's speed it up. I'll just cut. I really want to speed that up now in the actual thing. Do a slow motion punch. We're getting out of 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1. It's probably going to go up again. Oh, it's gone up another minute.
We'll come back to it.
We'll come back to it.
We'll come back to it, folks. But enjoy that rendition of A Midsummer Night's Dream, Chris and us. We'll come back to it. You can enjoy the dinosaurs in the meantime. But yeah, anything else you wanted to cover off?
That was the main thing.
We'll cut
This
back
existentialism around what's going to happen with our jobs and roles, and I guess the jobs and roles that I don't usually involve myself in.
We just said new jobs. I think we've been inspired as to where
I agree. Yeah.
The jungle.
Dancing and filmography and
Yeah.
slow motion punching. There's
Exactly.
it's
All right, folks. Watch the credits and you'll see the update of like where this other one's up to, because it's still, as you can see, it's got 12 seconds, but it's probably going to
add in. I reckon it's got a high volume of people who are jumping on it. It says it's only got 5,000-ish signed up, so maybe they got some server problems.
What you'll see is like at the end credits and stuff, just stick around, just like the previews for the next Marvel movie.
Team AI just built your idea.
Hey, okay, well maybe not what you're going to see right now.
Check out that experience. We've got fireworks. We've got Astra Prime like facing me going, hey, boss. All right, let's go view now. Streamline your boarding processes. Simplified employee termination management.
That's not bad.
Oh, okay. What's it? So learn more?
Okay. No learn more.
No learn more. No, nothing here.
They never do that. They all have like a limit. I think it's just context window stuff.
Offboarding process.
This is interesting.
There you go. It's put an image. Oh, it's a video. What? It's implemented a video
with
does it have
footage?
Does it have some audio? That's I think I've muted myself right now.
Yeah, I do wonder if there's audio.
I don't hear anything. No, I don't think there's any.
Okay, maybe no audio. That's okay. You can add that kind of stuff. I'm sure there's probably a link to where you can edit.
That might just be a holding. Maybe it's like put a video in there.
Yeah, it could be. But still pretty interesting that they've got a diagram there.
Interactive decision and documenting, meeting communication, employee offboarding, follow-up closure, download process guide. So insert a PDF there. So I reckon what you'd be able to do is then go, okay, let's create a PDF document and insert into this. So it's actually built a business website as if we're a startup who helps with HR space and HR management and it's employee offboarding processes, which I which is kind of cool. There's
I
a bit
haven't
of a
seen
bit of a tech
anyone
over there.
do, and you know, because it's got the multi agents and they're going back and forth with each other. Now, obviously, all that's cool, and maybe it's like smarter in terms of refined of what it could do, but it's going to be limited by just how much it can generate in terms of the output. Now, how much it goes back and forth, and you know,
Particularly
maybe there
because
will
I'm-
be something where
Particularly because I'm using a free version as well.
exactly. Like, and maybe the fuller one's different, but it'd be interesting if, because like right now with Bolt, I have to go a little bit back and forth with it and stuff like that. Build the homepage first, and then add a menu, and then do this and then do that. I wonder if there's ways that you can just literally, well, they do have a connection of Figma, and so there are ways to do stuff with that. It's going to be interesting where you can just literally do a simple command and it will build out way more the pages and stuff as well.
What's interesting, and we unfortunately won't be able to do this because I do have a free version, but it does say here, make all buttons clickable, add user profile dashboard area, create templates and library of downloadable resources.
That is interesting. That is very interesting. So I feel you should get the credits.
I'll get the credits. I'll have a play with that, and maybe
The
we'll share.
last one is very interesting.
Yeah.
Because we know it can create content, but I've not seen, like, you know, normally with some of this stuff, you'd have to create your own content first and build a way for it to be downloadable into the database.
There's processing. Okay,
well, we'll see. We'll see you back in a few seconds, folks, if, you know, it works out in time by the time we're done with this. But
So I wanted to just loop back into HeyBossAI quickly after it finished post the completion of our podcast. As you can see here, this is the output that it's ended up producing, a nice clean experience website. I mean, as a UXer and a designer myself, I'd probably play with and tweak a few things a little bit more, but you do have the options to do that with the tokens that you are given or the credits that you are given to play with the tool. I did end up doing a prompt before where I was asking them to create some process downloadable guides. You can see in the navigation up the top here, it's created a whole templates page and created some downloadable assets, albeit that these assets are not actually working properly. So I can't validate the content that's inside of them. But it did create at least a page for that with some really nice filters that you can tweak and play with. So it's gotten me that 90% of the way for a platform that I could start adding, you know, professional content that I needed. Similarly, what was actually secondary, what I found really interesting was the way that you're able to edit this tool. So there's a little edit icon up the top left-hand corner of the page here, and it opens up kind of like a really nice CMS kind of experience. So I can tap on the text here and I can actually change the headlines, which I haven't seen done before in tools like Lovable and Bolt. Obviously, you're talking to the LLM to make those adjustments, or you can actually, you know, I've seen some people even build some custom CMSs to actually play with how they build the content and shape the content in the backend as well. You know, using vibe coding and other integrations with real coding, etc. But just really interesting. I thought that was a nice little touch there. But actually, that was just all this was done with two very simple queries and some adjustments based on questions it was asking to me as well. And the little CMS kind of experience to adjust the content is a really nice touch on that overall. Obviously, there's a lot of different ways you can query this platform to ask for, you know, how to do certain things or what to build and ideating with it. So it's just a nice little platform that's it's being developed here in conjunction with all the other things that are out there. So it'll be interesting to see how they develop it. It's still very early stage, and yeah, go from there.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. That's been another lovely episode 27. Dinosaur Chris and Dinosaur Mark will be back at some point soon. We might be different animals next week.
Love it.
See you there.
Stay cheesy.
Circuit board buzzing, worldwide. Tech trends blazing, digital fire. AI, rising to the sky. Digital world, we reaching high.